Hey everyone, and welcome to today's Explainer. We're doing something really exciting today. We are going to decode one of the most profound ancient texts in human history to basically understand the very nature of our existence. We're digging into the Bhagavad-gītā. Now, this isn't just a book of philosophy, it actually provides a complete, comprehensive breakdown of reality itself. So if you've ever found yourself wondering how the universe operates on a fundamental level, you are absolutely in the right place. So why are we suffering? And where do we go after death? According to the text, out of all the millions of humans just going about their daily lives, only a tiny fraction actually stop to ask these massive questions. The text makes the argument that a perfect human life only truly begins when we wake up to this specific state of inquiry. There's a formal term for it in the Brahma Sutra. It's called Brahma Jigyasa. Basically, it means we stop just accepting our awkward, painful situations and we start actively hunting for a permanent solution. I absolutely love this quote from the source material. Actually, we are all followed by the tiger of nesciency. Now, nesciency is a fancy word, but it basically just means ignorance. We are constantly being hunted by our own lack of understanding. But as the text explains, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna, is incredibly merciful. To save us from this so-called tiger, he delivered a complete blueprint for life to his student Arjuna. And what's really fascinating here is that Arjuna was actually an enlightened associate of the Lord, but he was temporarily put into ignorance on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Why? Well, specifically, so he could ask Lord Krishna these exact questions about the problems of life, which ended up creating a permanent record for the benefit of all of us in future generations.
Okay, let's look at our roadmap for today. We're going to cover 1. Awakening to the big questions. 2. Unveiling the 5 truths. 3. The controller and the self. 4. Nature and eternal time. And finally, 5. The cycle of karma. All right, let's jump right into section 1. Awakening to the big questions. Seeking the absolute. The text makes a literally massive claim right off the bat. Every single activity of the human being is considered a failure unless we inquire about the nature of the absolute. Think about that for a second. You could be incredibly successful in your career, highly respected in your social life, but if you aren't questioning why you're suffering or where you came from, well, the text views all those other achievements as totally missing the point. This ancient knowledge was spoken specifically for those rare individuals who sincerely want to get to the root cause of their suffering and solve it. Moving on to section 2, unveiling the 5 truths, the pillars of the universe. So the first of these 5 basic truths is Īśvara, which translates to the supreme controller. Now, you might already know this concept as Godhead, Brahman, or Paramatma. The whole idea here is that this controller is the greatest of all and directly manages universal affairs. And the text uses a really great analogy to explain this. Imagine a young kid looking at a car for the very first time. They might think it's just pure magic that this giant metal box is moving without a horse pulling it. But a sane adult understands the engineering, right? They know for a fact there's a driver behind the wheel. In that exact same way, when we look at the insanely complex, wonderful things happening in the cosmos, it's pretty childish to think it all operates without a driver. Īśvara is that supreme driver. Truth number 2 is the Jivas. That's us, the controlled living entities. And the Gita is actually pretty blunt about this. It says that if a living entity in their conditioned, everyday life claims that they are completely free and entirely uncontrolled, well, they're essentially insane. We are controlled in literally every possible respect by the rigid laws of nature and time. So the first 2 foundational pieces of this puzzle that we have to grasp are the existence of the supreme controller, Īśvara, and the controlled living entities, the Jivas. Which brings us nicely to section 3, the controller and the self, understanding relationship. To really wrap your head around this dynamic, think of Īśvara as a vast, endless ocean, and the Jivas as just a single drop of that ocean water. The text explains that we, the living entities, are parts and parcels of the Supreme Lord. Just like a drop of ocean water is still salty, or a tiny flake of gold is still 100% gold, we possess the exact same qualities as the Supreme Lord. We have this built-in tendency to want to control our environment. I mean, look at how humans are always trying to control space or other planets, right? That controlling nature exists in us because it exists in the Supreme. But, and this is the vital difference, it comes down to quantity. We are minute, subordinate controllers, whereas Īśvara is infinite. We share the quality for sure, but definitely not the magnitude. Okay, let's look at section 4, nature and eternal time, our environment. The third truth is Prakṛti, which means material nature. The text describes Prakṛti as an inferior, subordinate energy. It actually uses a traditional analogy here, comparing Prakṛti to a female nature that is predominated and controlled by the Lord, similar to a traditional dynamic of a wife's activities being overseen by a husband. The main takeaway is that it's always acting under the direct supervision of the Supreme Lord. It is never, ever independent. Now, what's super interesting is that the Gita also classifies us living entities, the Jivas we were just talking about, as a type of Prakṛti too. We are considered a superior Prakṛti, but ultimately both the inferior material nature and the superior living entities are entirely controlled by the Lord. Let's zoom in on this material nature, this Prakṛti, for a second. It's not just some static blank canvas. It is specifically made up of 3 distinct qualities, or modes: the mode of goodness, the mode of passion, and the mode of ignorance. Basically, everything happening in the material world around you is a highly complex mixture of these 3 modes interacting. They are the underlying fabric that heavily influences our existence and our daily behavior. And sitting right above those 3 modes of material nature is our 4th truth: eternal time. Time is the ultimate controlling force over the entire material manifestation. It literally dictates the duration of existence for the whole universe. It's under the strict, watchful eye of eternal time that those modes of goodness, passion, and ignorance combine and interact with one another. Now, this actually brings up a massive philosophical debate. You see, some philosophers out there claim that this entire material world is just an illusion, that the whole thing is completely false. But the Bhagavad-gītā strongly disagrees with that. Material nature is accepted as being very real, but it is temporary. It's kind of like a passing rain cloud. When the rainy season rolls in, that cloud provides very real water that nourishes very real crops. But eventually, the cloud moves on, the season ends, and the crops dry up. The manifestation appears, it sticks around for a while, and then it disappears. The cycle itself is eternal, but the specific material manifestation at any given moment, that's entirely temporary.
Finally, Section 5, the cycle of karma, action and reaction.
The 5th and final truth is karma. Karma simply refers to activity. So, by a combination of the modes of nature we discussed, and constantly under the control of eternal time, we living entities perform actions. And these activities aren't a new thing. They've been going on from time immemorial. As a direct result of these actions, we are constantly either suffering or enjoying the fruits of what we've done. To make this perfectly clear, the text gives us a really practical analogy of a businessman. So, step 1, you work incredibly hard using all your intelligence to build your business. Step 2 usually goes one of 2 ways. Either you successfully amass a huge bank balance and become an enjoyer, or things go south, you lose your money, and you become a sufferer. Step 3 is just you experiencing those fruits. Karma dictates that in literally every single field of life, we are completely bound to either enjoy or suffer the direct results of our work. We are deeply tied to the consequences of our actions. So when we pull back and synthesize all 5 of these truths, a really profound distinction jumps out. Īśvara, the Jivas, Prakṛti, and time, these 4 are all eternal. They are interrelated and they are lasting. But karma? Karma is the only one of the 5 truths that is temporary. Yes, the built-up effects of our karma might be very, very old, but because it's fundamentally based on temporary activities happening within a temporary material manifestation, it is not an eternal truth, which means it can be changed. And that leaves us with this final, incredibly empowering thought. If absolutely everything else in our existence is fixed and eternal, but our karma, the very thing causing all of our enjoyment and our suffering, is temporary, how can we change our activities? If we're finally tired of being hunted by that tiger of ignorance, how do we alter our karma to finally escape this cycle of suffering? Well, that is the ultimate puzzle the Bhagavad-gītā invites you to solve. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer today, and whatever you do, keep asking the big questions.